Hello, welcome to Cape Town and welcome to the Toyota Starlet. Now, if you're looking at that and thinking to yourself, that's a pretty familiar car, it's because it's actually been on sale in South Africa for a long time, even though it's just arrived. However, it was on sale as the Suzuki Baleno. Yeah, that's pretty much just the Suzuki Baleno with a Toyota badge on the front. So if you're a bit confused, you've come to the right place. If you're trying to decide which one you should buy between the Toyota Starlet and the Suzuki Baleno, allow me to help. So in March 2019, Toyota and Suzuki announced that they were going to be working on some stuff together. And in other markets around the world, you can now buy a Toyota RAV4 badged as a Suzuki. And this saved Suzuki a lot of money because to go off and develop a mid-sized 4x4 SUV was going to be very expensive. And in return, it seems like Toyota said, we quite like your Baleno. I think we'll use that to replace the Etios. So in India, they're no longer manufacturing the Etios, which means Toyota South Africa can't get their hands on anymore. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think anyone's going to miss the Etios. I really could not stand that car. This is a massive upgrade over the Etios. The thing about Suzuki is they really are small car specialists. They're really good at this kind of car. And I feel a bit bad for Suzuki South Africa because there was nothing ever wrong with the Baleno. It's always been a great value car. The thing is, it just gets overlooked because most people walk into a Suzuki dealership and walk out with a Suzuki Swift, which is quite a bit cheaper than this, but it's also quite a bit smaller. But here's the interesting thing, because of Toyota South Africa's power and their ability to import volume and their import credits which they get for manufacturing in this country, which Suzuki doesn't get, the Starlet has gone on sale for 17,000 Rand less than a Baleno, which must really annoy Suzuki dealers. But the story is not as simple as that. So let's start with what I like about the Starlet, the Baleno. Like all Suzukis, Toyotas, this is a bit awkward. It's a Suzuki, right? The whole car is a Suzuki. So like all Suzukis, it's really nice to drive. What they've focused on is making all the bits of mechanicalness that you interact with really, really light and nicely assisted. So the steering is nicely assisted, the gear action is really, really light, the clutch action is really, really light. It's not a physically demanding car to drive. It's really nicely set up. Another thing I like is how solid this car feels. Not a rattle, not a squeak, deals with road imperfections really, really well. It honestly feels like it rides like a car which costs twice as much. In fact, we were chatting at the office about this car, and we actually think it feels a bit better to drive than the Toyota Yaris, which costs quite a lot more than this. In fact, in quite a lot of ways, this is quite a bit better than a Yaris. So if you were looking at a Yaris, you could just go for one of these and save yourself about 130,000 Rand. There's some good consumer advice for you. So there are a couple of little aesthetic differences. Toyota have redone the grille a little bit, but you have to look quite hard to see the difference. And they've also made a couple of new wheel designs available. Additionally, you can only buy 3 variants of the Suzuki Baleno, where you can buy about 7 of the Toyota Starlet, various levels of trim. Starting off at 204,000 Rand for the very basic trim, going up all the way to this, the XR. You can also have this in an auto. This is a 5-speed manual, and what they've done is added a leather steering wheel with a Toyota badge on it, obviously, and this is quite a nice touch. But the rest of the car is Baleno. Now, in terms of engines, you will benefit from Suzuki's long-developed, very reliable 1.4 litre petrol engine. It's the only engine you can have in the Starlet. No diesels, nothing smaller, nothing bigger, nothing turbocharged. This is it. But it's a great little engine. Just U-turning. Ooh, reverse camera. That's very nice. That's a nice touch. And back along Signal Hill Drive we go. What a lovely, lovely road this is. Beautiful. Can you see the mountain behind me? Very nice mountain. So the thing about this motor is I have quite a lot of experience with it. It's in my Suzuki Ciaz Uber car, and one of the reasons I bought the Suzuki Ciaz as an Uber car is because this motor is unbelievably fuel efficient. So right now it's giving me my kilometers per liter, so not liters per 100, kilometers per liter, and I'm doing 14.5 kilometers to the liter. Now the way you get to liters per 100 is you divide 100 by that figure, which should give you around 6.5 if my maths is not too bad. Now Suzuki claim quite a bit lower than that, about 5.5, and in my experience you can get that figure down to Suzuki's claimed figure, which is quite a rare thing in the modern car world. This really is a very, very fuel efficient engine, but don't expect fireworks. Yeah, I mean, power's okay, power's pretty average, but torque very, very low, 135 Newton meters. And let me just translate that for you. Basically what it means is that going up hills, the car feels very underpowered. You constantly have to row through the gears. I mean, coming up here, up Kloofnek, which is quite a steep road, I had to get all the way down into second gear. So if you're loaded up, even if you're not, be prepared to have to change down quite a bit when you're going up hills. That being said, what I've noticed is this gearbox is quite cleverly geared. So yesterday I did an 80k round trip on the highway, and I was fully expecting to miss a sixth gear, which serves to lower the revs when you're at cruising speed. And what I was quite impressed by was in fifth gear at 120 k's an hour, the engine was sitting at 3000 RPM. Now that's very smart. That means that you're not getting this horrible vibration and horrible nasty engine tone while you're cruising on the highway, which is something, weirdly enough, that Toyotas suffer from quite badly. For instance, in the Toyota Rush, that thing sits at like 4,000 RPM on the highway. It sounds like a chainsaw. So that doesn't have that problem. It also seems like they've lowered the first gear to make the best use of the available torque, and it's actually quite nippy off the line. Crow, move. Yo, wildlife. Unruly wildlife up here. So let's go on to what I don't like about the car. It feels fine. Yeah, I can't think of anything that I don't like about this little car. I'm a bit stumped. I think I have to find something I don't like. Yeah. Now I wanted to show you how well packaged this little car is, because although it looks quite compact from the outside, it actually is very roomy, both for the passengers and in the boot. So have a look at the suitcase. That's quite a big suitcase, quite large. And watch this, in it goes. Hey, that's pretty impressive. There's still a bit of space in front, quite a bit of space to the right over there, and a good bit of height between the suitcase and the parcel shelf. And of course you can just remove that for some extra height. That is a very decent boot. The seats fold down 60-40 as well. The only downside I would say to this boot design is that it is very deep from the boot lip to the boot floor. So to get things out of there, you do have to have quite a bit of strength to lift them up and over. But that's a very good boot. Let's take a look at the back seats. Through the magic of editing, I am now sitting in the back seats, and look at that leg room. That is really impressive. This is the driving position I was in. This is the sit behind yourself test, and that is just really impressive leg and knee room. You wouldn't get space like that in a lot of compact crossovers and compact SUVs. In terms of headroom, it's a little tight. If you're over 6 foot, you're going to battle a little bit with headroom. But other than that, I'm really impressed with this. You've got door pockets, which will take a 1 liter bottle really easily, electric windows, no USB port back here, but there is a 12-volt socket, so you could buy an adapter, and there is ISOFIX child seat mounts on both sides for your baby chairs. That's a good back seat. Pretty impressed with that. Right, into the front. Right, quick tour of the interior for you. This is the top spec model, so it's got the Suzuki's touchscreen infotainment system. That's got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Automatic climate control over here. That's all your switches. 2 drinks holders with quite a nice storage area up front there for your keys. You've got a center bin over there, although it's pretty tiny. This model is top spec, so it gets this really nice leather wrapped steering wheel with all your infotainment controls over here, little Bluetooth controls over there, so you can pick up and drop calls without having to take your hands off the steering wheel. Cruise control over here. It's not radar guided, obviously, but that's pretty decent. Your start stop button is on the right. As I mentioned, with this top spec model, you get keyless entry. But overall, this is a very satisfactory interior at this price point. Again, I think it is actually a bit better than that you get in the Toyota Yaris, which is pretty awkward. And one last thing I want to do for you is start the engine. So clutch in. Because it is impressively quiet. In fact, earlier I couldn't actually tell if the car was idling or not without actually checking the rev counter. It's really impressive. So here is the $1 million question. Well, actually it's the 204,000 Rand question. If the Baleno and the Starlet are identical, which one should you buy? Well, this is not a very straightforward answer, so just concentrate here. Maybe get a notebook and a pen, because I'm about to give you a lot of numbers. So base model Baleno versus Starlet, the Starlet is 17,000 Rand cheaper, but Toyota only offers a 3-year warranty, 100,000 Ks, whereas Suzuki offers a 5-year, 200,000 kilometer warranty. And the Suzuki service plan is a year longer than the Toyota's at 4 years. But I just phoned a Toyota dealer just now off camera, and I asked him about extending the warranty on the Starlet. And here's what he told me. The first 6,000 Starlets sold in South Africa will receive a 5-year, 150,000 kilometer promotional warranty, which is very good. So if you want one of these, you better act fast. If you miss one of those first 6,000 units, then you can extend the Toyota warranty to 6-year unlimited or 8-year unlimited kilometers. And the price of this literally blew my mind. So you can go from a 3-year Toyota warranty to a 6-year factory warranty with unlimited kilometers for 3,090 Rand. 3,090 Rand, which they'll add to your finance, so you won't even feel it really. If you want to go to the 8-year, it's 4,750 Rand. So you can get 8 years of cover for an extra 4,750 Rand. And this means that it's still a lot cheaper to buy a Starlet than a Baleno and still get as much coverage as you would get in the Suzuki. That's really impressive. That's really incredible value. But if you're buying a more top spec Baleno or a more top spec Starlet like the one I'm driving, then the price difference is only 1,000 Rand. Yeah, 258 for the Starlet, 259 for the Baleno. So if you're buying entry level, the better value is with the Starlet, no doubt. Just extend the warranty and you're good to go. Both of these brands come highly commended by Cars.co.za. Suzuki's won Brand of the Year twice now in our Cars.co.za Consumer Awards, and Toyota has won it once. So this is probably the toughest consumer advice I've ever had to give, but I think everything I've just said makes sense. I really do. So there we go. I hope I've answered the big question for you. Did you know that we also sell really awesome car-themed merchandise? Check out our range of custom t-shirts and prints at our online store now. Simply click on the square box on your screen and we'll take you there, or the link is in the description below. Thanks for watching.